Notre Dame head coach Marcus Freeman and new offensive coordinator Gerad Parker met with the media on Monday morning to discuss a number of topics. And to break it down, we have blue and gold football reporter Tyler Horka. Tyler, I mean, we've covered so many pressers in our careers. This one was really interesting because the opening to Marcus Freeman's presser, which folks you can find it on our Blue and Gold YouTube channel, that was one of the most interesting, like jam-packed, openings to a presser. Folks, please do hit the thumbs up on this video. He talked about wanting a pro-style offense, which Tyler, you can touch on that. He even mentioned, not by name, but he said we brought in guys from Utah and Kansas State on campus for interviews. You usually don't see that in press conferences where a coach names another coach like that they interviewed. He talked about a long and tough interview with Gerad Parker where, he just knew, about halfway through that was this guy. And then the big one, Tyler, was the quote unquote misconceptions about the offensive coordinator search, really with regards to the buyout. What were some of your thoughts there?
Yeah, I guess I'll start with those misconceptions and then maybe work backwards a little bit because, yeah, he did mention a couple guys, not by name, but he said when we started this offensive coordinator search, 2 programs, I guess is what he would say, because he's not really looking at specific guys when you're looking at an offensive coordinator like football coaches do. You look at the offenses and you look at the on-field product of what you're looking for. And when Marcus Freeman and his assistants and administration, whoever was in on that process, looked at it, they came to Kansas State, so that would be Colin Klein, and Utah, and that would be Andy Ludwig. So those are the offenses that they really liked. And then you get into the people, the relationship aspect of that, and you bring both of those guys in. And Colin Klein and Andy Ludwig were both on campus at Notre Dame a couple weeks ago. So obviously Notre Dame had a lot of interest in them. But at the end of the day, this is what Marcus Freeman said over and over again was those 2 guys chose to remain at their own institutions. It wasn't a buyout thing like we've talked about so much with Andy Ludwig, where there were some what I think Marcus Freeman called, I don't think he called them lies, but he called them falsehoods maybe, or he called them misconceptions for sure, to where he really shot down the idea that Notre Dame was not going to pay Andy Ludwig's buyout. So there's that. Obviously, Colin Klein, even before any of that happened, just straight up said, hey, I want to remain at Kansas State. I don't think anyone was entirely shocked by that. He's a Kansas State guy. So he was really on the defense. He was like defensively offensive in that opening statement where he said, hey, look, we had 2 guys. They both chose to stay at their current schools. That is what it is. And I think it maybe opened up a lot of Notre Dame fans' eyes to what the search was really like behind the scenes. Because so I wrote about this last week at blueandgold.com. Look at Nick Saban in Alabama. They didn't get their first guy. I mean, Tommy Rees was not their first guy. They went to Washington to try to pull that offensive coordinator. Apparently, they spoke with Joe Moorhead and said, hey, do you want to come down here? He's going to remain the head coach at Akron. So, look, all the Notre Dame fans that were up in arms, Marcus Freeman tried to calm their anxieties in that opening statement.
Yeah, good stuff. And I see a good boy. That's
there he is.
Ollie's always he's a good friend of
the weather in South Bend right now. He needs a walk today. It's gonna be like close to 50 degrees. So
very nice day in South Bend. So Tyler, it's one of 2 things. It's either, or I guess it could be somewhere in the middle. He's straight up lying to everyone, and it totally was the buyout, like Pete Thamel reported. Yeah. Or it's a total overreaction, to that, and it was a bad report, or for the lack of a better term, by Thamel. Like it's 1 and 2. Maybe it could be a little bit in the middle, but it's like overreacting from fans. Which look, fans are watching this. We all overreact at times. Or Freeman's lying. I might lean towards Freeman was being more truthful, but it's just kind of one of those things that you just land on one of those 2, and that's kind of your identity in my Twitter mentions, at least.
Yeah, and Jack Swarbrick was sitting right next to me for this thing, and I could kind of tell by the way he was like moving his body whenever Marcus was saying specific things. It was like, yeah, that's the point that you need to get out there. That's the one right there. So again, maybe it is 100% truth. It could be. I think maybe there's some I wrote about this at blueandgold.com too. We're never going to know for 100% certainty how exactly this thing went down line by line. There could be some of the things that fans were saying with the buyout and stuff and what they were reading into and what they were trying to project onto this. Maybe that's some of the truth. But Marcus Freeman, the only thing that he could do today was get up there and defend himself, defend this program, say, hey, we're in a good spot, because he was asked point blank about these narratives that are out there that Notre Dame is not 100% committed to winning a national championship. With Jack Swarbrick sitting right there, right next to me in the room, he said, no, the administration 100% has my back, and we're doing things the way we all want to do things.
Yeah, and I get folks being like, "Yeah, of course, what is he gonna say?" But,
Right.
I mean, also, that's kind of the truth, I
He
mean,
said it
like
with conviction
yeah.
too. That guy can speak. I'll give him that.
So, uh, it was also brought up about Andy Ludwig being at the hockey game, and for folks watching this YouTube video, I've said this so many times that Ludwig being at that game was Notre Dame's way of showing, "Hey, this is our guy." Freeman didn't say that, but kinda, he was like, look, we bring recruits to the hockey games. Those junior days they do in January, they line it up with a hockey game. He's like, this is our offensive coordinator recruit. We're not going to hide him. We're going to have him here. And just like a recruit can visit Notre Dame and not go to Notre Dame, that's kind of what he said is the case with Ludwig.
Right, but there's a little bit of a difference there, because you see Marcus Freeman, when he brings those recruits, he's down like sitting around the glass, and there's like a dozen of them with him. And unless you're Mike Singer or some of these other guys that cover Notre Dame, you can't look down there and be like, oh yeah, that there's CJ Carr. Maybe CJ Carr is a bad
Sure,
example because everyone
sure.
knows his face, but you don't know some of those guys. Everybody knew who Andy Ludwig was because of the reports that were coming out that day that he might be on campus that weekend. And then boom, he shows up at the hockey game. That's different. That's a little bit more of a magnifying glass. You're looking at him through a little bit of a magnified lens there.
Yeah.
But he said about showing off Notre Dame, and look, he's trying to seal the deal on that guy in the moment. Hindsight is 2020. We all thought that the deal was done. Turns out it wasn't, and he's trying to seal a deal. He's trying to get Ludwig to come. Heck yeah, man. As a hockey guy, I grew up playing hockey. I got a thing of Mike Modano, right? That's Mike Modano's jersey retirement ceremony at American Airlines Center in Dallas. I love hockey games. That's a heck of a way to try to get a guy to, seal the deal. So I get it from both aspects. I get why the fans were mad that you're publicly parading a guy. But then from Marcus Freeman's standpoint, I 100% get it that, hey, man, you want this guy to come here, show him some of the best things that you have to offer. Not every campus that Andy Ludwig is going to interview with has that cool of a hockey environment to go to.
Moving along, Gerad Parker, Freeman talked a lot about what kind of sold him on Jared. What did he have to say there? What's your take?
Obviously, the friendship thing is there. I mean, these guys worked together at Purdue for, I think it was 4 or 5 seasons. They had some rough times there, and Marcus Freeman really spoke to learning about a guy through adversity, because those Purdue teams were bad. And obviously, at the end, both of them, I think, end up getting let go from that staff because they bring in somebody new, and then there's roster turnover, there's coaching change turnover there. In the end, though, these guys found a way to kind of get back together. And I know it's only been 1 year at Notre Dame, but you learn a lot about a guy even in the last year at Notre Dame, where Notre Dame goes 8-4, loses a couple games they shouldn't. I just think that the familiarity is there, the chemistry is there. And then obviously, I wrote about this at blueandgold.com. People can get mad that Notre Dame didn't get Colin Klein or didn't get Andy Ludwig or whatever, but every single hot board or coaching candidate list that you saw included Gerad Parker. If you were going to make an internal hire right after Tommy Rees left, you had Parker on there. He's got play calling experience at West Virginia for a couple of years. He's got all kinds of experiences with a lot of different offenses. Obviously, Notre Dame wants to run that pro style offense, but I think Gerad Parker is a guy that can really bring a lot of adaptability. He's been a lot of places. He's seen a lot of things, and he might be a guy who I think he's, 42? I mean, early 40s, a guy who's really just starting to kind of get to where he wants to go in terms of coaching. Maybe he wants to be a head coach someday. Being the Notre Dame offensive coordinator is a really good stepping stone in that. So I just think he's a really good up and comer. And yeah, some of this coaching search was clouded by some other things, but Gerad Parker's a solid candidate, and we're going to see what he can do here this fall.
Yeah, Tyler's mentioned, I think 3 times now about articles he's written at blueandgold.com. And yeah, $29.99, unlock premium access until the start of the football season. And hey, maybe we even have some good news and more people to write for Blue and Gold. So maybe you stay tuned to that this week. Wrap it up. Parker also met with the media for about 25 minutes or so. Good old thick Southern boy accent, dropped in "aw shucks" in the presser. He won me over at that point. Forget about the play calling. He said "aw shucks." But in all seriousness, what'd you think about what he had to say? Did anything stand out to you?
Yeah, he's an impressive guy. I mean, he knows how to handle that setting. We've talked to him a couple times before. I think he had an answer for everything, and he was kind of honest with some of the things that he had to answer to. The West Virginia stuff. He was the offensive coordinator there, but he wasn't really the sole primary play caller, and he opened up to that. He said, "I was there when head coach wanted me to call plays, but when he didn't, I took a back seat to that. And now, obviously, he's the number one guy, and he's going to be the play caller, but." He kind of spoke to the unnamed quarterbacks coach that Notre Dame could be bringing in here pretty soon. And he said, hey, when that guy gets here, I want to be on the same page with him. I want him to come in and be able to tell me things, and I want to be able to tell him things. So that kind of speaks to the adaptability that I talked about when Marcus was talking about Parker. So I just think he's an impressive guy. And like I said, at 42 years old, it seems like he's knowledgeable beyond his years. I know he's only had a couple of years as an offensive coordinator in college football, but it feels like he's had more than that. And it feels like this opportunity was kind of a long time coming. So for all the fans out there, again, who are like, man, really, this is our guy. I'm telling you, he was on that short list of probably 3 to 5 guys all along. Yeah, Notre Dame looked at a couple others first, but I'm not entirely surprised it rounded out and came back to Gerad Parker. And now he's got his chance. Now this honeymoon phase is going to be a lot shorter than Freeman's was. Once spring ball rolls around, everything's going to be dissected. And then obviously once the season rolls around, these fans are looking for a good offense. And Parker, time and time again, he said, we're going to get more yards. We're going to score more points. At the end of the day, that's all it comes down to.
Speaking of spring ball being dissected, we'll do it right here on our Blue and Gold YouTube channel with Tyler Horka giving daily reports on our channel and of course articles of Blue and Gold. That'll be here before you know. I think just 3 weeks maybe. I don't have the official start date, I don't believe, but we will have all of that coverage and insight on blueandgold.com and our YouTube channel here. Please do hit that thumbs up. In just a couple days, February 22nd, we'll have a live show Wednesday night with myself, Tim Hyde, and Mike Goolsby. So don't miss that one. The three amigos will be together, so please do tune in for that. Again, Mike Singer, Tyler Horka here. Hit that thumbs up. And as always, folks, we'll catch you next time.